Welcome to our Latin Trails webinar today. We are here to explore Amazon River cruises in Ecuador, Brazil, and Peru. And it's my pleasure to turn it over to Marcel Perkins. He's the managing director at Latin Trails. So Marcel, over to you.
Hi, Lee. Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. It's a real pleasure to share some information on these amazing expedition cruises in the Amazon basin. It's the world's largest river, and it actually encompasses several countries. Out of all the countries in the Amazon that you can visit, there's a few that actually have the possibility of river cruising and have the infrastructure from first class to luxury river cruises. And that's what we're going to present today, and that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go over the details of cruising in the Amazon, the type of experiences travelers can expect to see, how we can help agents as well with this and booking it for their travelers, what type of boats are, what categories, the logistics. It's going to be a quick overview, but we're always available. I mean, please reach out after the webinar, and we're happy to help you plan these trips for your travelers with trip extensions throughout the region. So, without more ado, I'm going to go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start. So, okay, just one second, and it should be all right. I'm having a little bit. Okay, let's see if it works there. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm just going to give a few details about Latin Trails. We're a destination management company for all of South America. We work on a business to business basis with travel agents and the industry and with tour operators as well. And this is our main focus, offering the services so that travel agents are the rock stars in front of their clients. We focus on creating and curating guest experiences, custom itineraries, and we have a 24/7 concierge department that looks after guests while they're traveling. Now, our travel advisor that works with you to plan the trip is also available throughout your client's trip. So we're offering support both to the travelers and to the agents through the entire journey. Now, this is a little bit about our services, exclusive experiences that you can't find outside, in OTAs or anything like that. You'd have to, directly through contact with us because we curate them based on what travelers need. We have a commitment to excellence, and as I mentioned, 24/7 assistance, both for the travelers who are through our concierge department, but also to agents while their clients are traveling. Custom itinerary creation is included, luxury transportation, anywhere from vehicles, yachts, private jets as well, tailor-made itineraries, and sustainability throughout the entire journey. Now, our pillars are authenticity, luxury, sustainability, and offices at destination. Now, just a small detail, Latin Trails has its main offices in Ecuador and Peru. This is where we have our reservations teams, but we have country managers in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. Just to give a quick overview and how we can help you create multi-country itineraries for your clients as well. Now, I'm going to give an introduction to the Amazon. Well, being the world's largest river, and a destination that is wild. Well, it's also a destination that needs protection. And why we promote it is because the more you know a place, the more it gets loved, and there can be lobbying done to protect these areas. And it is an area that is important for the wildlife on our planet, especially for our clean air and many other aspects of culture, but also medicinal plants. Now, what do you need to travel to the Amazon? Well, depends on which country you're going to. Ecuador and Peru, and I'm focusing right now on mainly travelers from North America and the US, um, do not require any visa at all, and you can stay for 90 days with your passport. Remember, when you travel, your passport cannot expire within 6 months. Now, if you are going to Brazil, it is necessary to get a visa for U.S. travelers. This started April this year. It's an e-visa, so it's not really that difficult. And you can stay for 90 days. It's approximately $89. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to apply for. Just have to scan your passport, or even if you have a photo that has already been taken, a passport photo of yourself. They also have an app there that you can take a photo of yourself and edit it at that same moment. And then you would have to, it takes around, it could take up to 15 to 20 days. So that's the lead time that you'd have to take it. Now, I mean, there has been times that people get it in 2 or 3 days, but that should not be something, you can rely on because it really depends on the consulates. And sometimes there could be a holiday, there could be something. So it's best to do this in advance. Yellow fever vaccination is really, I mean, it is not required, but it would depend on your physician, actually. And that's important to take into account because when you're traveling between countries, actually, if you're combining Ecuador, Peru, Brazil, if you visited the Amazon in one of the other countries, there is a visa, there is vaccination requirements between countries. Now, the best travel seasons. One of them is well, we say the low water or dry season. This is ideal for hiking, June to September, to November in Peru, to September again in Brazil. But again, this is a dry season when the water levels are down and the forest is not inundated. Then we have the high water season. I'm missing that slide, but I'll be sending it to you in the follow-up. The high water season actually is January. Well, actually, it starts it actually starts in December and it goes all the way through June. And this is when not necessarily there is more rain in the Amazon. You see, you're going to a rainforest and it's always going to rain a lot, but it's when it rains in the Andes. So the rivers flow into the Amazon and the water rises. Now, what does this mean for travelers is that, they don't have to hike that much. They can actually be sitting in the skiff. The skiff is if you've been on an expedition cruise before, it's the Zodiac, the Tender, or, the dinghy. That's several names for it. But the skiff is usually the boats are made out of metal because you're on the river. Sometimes there's wood and things like that. So you don't want to be on a rubber Zodiac usually. So you're in a metal skiff, and it's the expedition, let's say canoe, but not really motorized, but to get around on the small creeks and rivers. And actually, you can go under the canopy when it's the high water season, so no walking is necessary. This is great for travelers, that have a disability or anything. They can enjoy this unique destination, without having to hike through the rainforest. Now, of course, if you like walking and all that, the ideal time is actually June through, I would say not September, but I'd push it up to November. And then you have, less, it's not as flooded and it's always going to be muddy because it's always raining, but you will be able to go in with rubber boots and explore below the canopy. There's possibilities of glamping and other experiences. What to pack for your, well, Amazon cruise? In general, this is, yes, it is a warm weather destination. You need your passport, your documents, breathable clothing, but taking into account, even though it is a warm weather destination, you're not going to the beach. There is mosquitoes in the forest. Um, on the boats, the nice thing is they're air conditioned, so you actually don't really have that issue on board. But you do need long sleeve and long pants, just because of the mosquitoes and things like that. Comfortable walking shoes and sandals. These are actually for being on board because when you're in excursion, you're using rubber boots. And of course, when you're in the skiffs, you can be using the sandals and the walking shoes. A hat, sunglasses, and sunscreen. Although you're under the canopy, the sun, especially, I mean, in the midday, is actually very strong. Um, Insect repellent, binoculars, a waterproof camera, or a phone case. A lot of people ask me, what type of camera? Well, really, a cell phone camera will do in most cases, unless you are, a really keen bird watcher and you want to have close-ups and, other type of photos, then you can bring in gear. Now, optional, well, I would definitely recommend bringing swimwear. There are rivers that you can swim in. There's areas there. Rain jacket, a light one, but we do provide on excursions a rain poncho and a small backpack for excursions where you keep your stuff dry. Now, we'll get a little bit more into the Ecuadorian Amazon cruises. These depart out of a port that's called Coca, and this is in the Amazon of Ecuador, and it's a half-hour flight from Quito. Now, I'll give you the logistics of this. Um, so basically, I mean, the main flight connections to Ecuador, and then they're not all listed here. These are just a few, and we'll send a full table. are from Miami, and now we have a direct flights from coming in from Philadelphia pretty soon. From New York, you have flights from Houston. Now, take into account that you have to spend the night in Ecuador before your trip to Coca. There is no, not really a direct connection, that you connect the same day. So this is why we list 7 to 10 hours, 9 to 12 hours, just out of ease. But you spend a night in Quito, and then you fly. Now, you need to arrive to Quito, and the flight from Quito to Coca is about a half hour, and it's actually 28 minutes. Now, once you arrive at the airport, there is transfer person from the expedition ships, and you'll go through VIP room, and then you'll go on the river on a motorized canoe to reach up with the boat. Now, depending on again, high water or low water, the ship could actually be docked a little bit closer to the town of Coca, which is also known as Francisco de Guiana, but it's usually a 1.5 hour canoe ride. Again, it's part of the attractions because you actually are getting to see things along the way and you're going by the river. So we got to remember that. Now, boats depart early. We as I mentioned, it's 1.5, 2 hours. When you're leaving the boat, you're leaving at early 6 a.m. because you want to arrive on time to get the flight. And then you're at the departure lounge, and then you transfer in and fly to Quito, and then you would be arriving in Quito around 10:40, more or less. So that's the final day after the cruise. What areas do we visit? Well, there's very famous national parks in Ecuador and in the Amazon specifically. The main area we'll be visiting is the Yasuni National Park. Cuyabeno is a little bit further north, but I wanted to list it because it's an important area. But you would not cruise in that area. There are lodges in that area. And of course, you can extend any of the Amazon cruises with a stay at a lodge. So that's another option if you really are keen to doing that. Now let's get into the ships. The Manatee. This is a nice first class expedition ship. You have capacity for 30 people. There's 12 crew members, but there's the guides as well, which we're not counting directly here, actually. It's about 27 meters long. You have on board, usually there's 3 guides on board. Speed is 12 knots. Now, the sailing is very soft. There's very little sailing at night. Now, you have and you're in the Amazon of Ecuador, actually. Starting on the Coca River, but then you're going into different wildlife reserves. This is an idea of the cabins. Queen suites, standard suites, and they all have a small balcony. This is an idea of the bathrooms, the observation deck, and I'll just go really briefly through this. We'll be sending you the slide deck so you can look into it a little bit more. But as you can see, it's a nice first-class expedition ship. The Anaconda, it's a little bit bigger, but again, a very beautiful boat with 25 crew members, and again, with 36 passengers on board, up to and in some cases up to 48 if there's families. English speaking guide, native guides, you have a concierge on board and you have crew members, and these are the suites. As you can see, a little bit more spacious, again, with their own balconies. Standard suites have French balconies, actually, and a very nice sun deck, a bar area. These are conference rooms. Now, the experiences. Now, on the Manatee and the Anaconda, there is the possibility of doing participating in glamping. They have chocolate tasting from Ecuador. And as you can see, the experiences are all around the rainforest. You can create your own handicrafts. You have the native guides that will be taking you and sharing, their traditions, camping and nighttime legends. Again, this is with the glamping related. Stories, lectures by local indigenous tribes, cooking classes for kids, learning to, use the produce of the Amazon, and of course, wildlife viewing. And this is, a small sample of what can be spotted, and nothing is guaranteed. It's a secret forest, but here you have an idea, of the Ecuadorian Amazon. And a little bit about, the dolphin watching. Lee, is everybody able to see the video with the sound?
Yes, and the sound is beautiful.
Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really quick, video that just to give an idea of what the Ecuadorian Amazon can offer in that sense. Then we have the Peruvian Amazon. The embarkation port is Iquitos. Well, somewhat. I'll get into the elaboration on that. Flights and logistics. Well, first you have to arrive to Lima. And again, the 9 to 11 hours is counting that, you're arriving in Lima and then you're flying out to Iquitos on the next day. Now, arriving into Iquitos, we'll greet you at the airport. You have a direct transfer to the ships. But you can also have a pre or post cruise night inside in the town, and this is depending on the itinerary, depending on the logistics of any of each boat. But from the airport to Iquitos to the town itself, it's really only 30 minutes. But when we're going now, most of the ships and most of the itineraries are going to depart out of Nauta because it's a 1.5 to 2 hour drive. We go by the Manatee Rescue Center. We visit that where they're nurturing them, and we're going by car because if the boat to do that journey, and again, it's going to depend on the itineraries or any other logistics. The boat to do that journey, it takes it a lot more longer. So we would be saving some time, and we get closer to the Cayesa Media Reserve, which is the main wildlife area we will be visiting. And it's known as this of the forest of the mirrored waters. Then again, on the way back, the other areas are actually 10 to 20 minutes from the airport, which is the terminal, the river terminal. And from the Iquitos airport to Nauta, it's again 1.5 hours. So that's one thing we mentioned. Now, airport transfer, you have to make sure that your flight arrives at least 2 hours earlier than the departure time of the boat because you have the longer transfer. And again, as we said, we have the pre and post services at the hotels. Now, we will help you book the flights if you like. We could do that in Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil as well, the internal flights. But also, we can tell you which flights to take. If you already have a booking, if you're booking with miles or anything like that, that's not a problem. Now, I've listed two of the main reserves in Peru, but the one we would be visiting by riverboat cruise is the Pacaya Media Reserve. We don't visit the Tampata Reserve on cruises. It's actually a lodge visit. We do have lodge options as well for travelers that don't want to do a river cruise. And we'll be happy to share those, after the presentation. Here's some of the ships that navigate the Peruvian Amazon. I'm going to go in through briefly because there's a lot more ships here in this area. And one of them is the Aquanera. It's a really nice luxury expedition ship. As you can see, it's very stylish with a lot of comfort and in a lot of facilities. Then you have the Aria. This is again a little bit. It is a higher level. It is we would consider it. I wouldn't say ultra luxury, but very very high end. Private balconies and other areas. Then there's new ships being built. We're excited with the coming of the Amazon Explorer, and as you can see, it really looks stunning. And this is being built as we speak. We've been talking with our partners there, and the ship is coming up according to schedule. So um, before the end of next year, we will have it in operation. This is indoor areas. La Perla. This is a first class expedition ship, one that doesn't break the bank and a little bit smaller in the sense, but still very comfortable as you can see. The focus is on the expedition, but again, it has its comfortable levels. There is great food still on board. This is the interior areas. The Zafiro, this is another luxury expedition ship, and as you can see, you have a little bit larger cabins, private balconies as well, hot tub on board. Oops, I'm sorry, there's something went wrong here. There we go. I had a small glitch with the presentation, and we're back. Just so I'm going to continue with the side screen, but it's okay. There we go, and this is the Safira, the boat I was talking about, and I'll just skip down a little bit there. Here we have the gym, the observation deck, and then we have a charter ship, the Amatista. Now this one is a little bit it's a little bit more simple, but it's still a very comfortable boat. They all have private bathrooms and they have all the facilities you need. All of them have uh the guides on board. You have a doctor on board all these boats. And for example, the Amatista, it carries only 31 people. And now, the main thing, this is ideal for student groups. We usually have it available for charter only. Now, apart from this, as you can see, it's still a very comfortable expedition ship. Then we have other luxury ships like Delphine. This is very high end. And this one carries only 12 passengers. And as you can see, you have a hot tub in your room, observation decks. Delphine 2 is another luxury expedition ship, and panoramic windows throughout. Very unique design. Delphine 3 is a little bit, it's a larger boat for 44 guests, but still, I mean, the comfort is there, all the infrastructure and experiences in the Peruvian Amazon. Swimming, it's a lot more common to swim in the Peruvian Amazon in the waters. Bird watching, of course, and this is throughout all the Amazon community immersion, expert-led excursions, kayaking on the rivers, as I mentioned, culinary immersion, and the expeditions on the skiffs. There is covered skiffs as well. Bird watching towers that we can visit, piranha fishing, wildlife viewing, and other unique activities. And again, even biking in the Amazon is possible. Here's a quick video. And this is a sample of what the Aqua rivers and boats offer. Now, just a quick note, there are other boats. There's a couple of boats that are not in this presentation, but we will be sharing information. And they cater to only 8 guests. So we have there's an expedition ship. One of them is a Spondias that we work with, and it has 4 cabins only, and it can be chartered for a family. That's actually one of my favorite trips I did with my kids and in our family. We went with their grandparents. It was a multi-generational trip, and we chartered one of the ships, and we went into the Pacaya Samita Reserve, but on a more private basis. And it was a 4 cabin ship. We was actually only 7 of us, and we had it to ourselves. The guides were dedicated to us. We had 2 skiffs. We had the kayaks. We had time to swim. We could really tailor the itinerary around, how around our times and everything, we wanted. And the nice thing is that, in the Peruvian Amazon, you have actually you have cell phone signal throughout the area, depending, and we can help you find a SIM card that is actually compatible. So it was a nice that was one of our top wildlife experiences as a family. So I tell you, at a personal experience, it is an area that is really really unique, and the experiences are life changing because you learn about botanics in the Amazon. You see the primates in the canopy, both on the skiff or while you're walking through trails. You encounter reptiles. You get to interact with local communities, and it's not just about buying a souvenir, but sitting down and learning about the stories. Of course, the guides are there to translate. You have a doctor on board. I remember. I got actually stung by a wasp. It was on one of my first trips, and they immediately had medicine to put on my hands, some creams and everything, and the pain was gone in a minute. So it's good to take those things into account. And I tell you, how the logistics are. And then we have the Brazilian Amazon, of course, a larger city like Manaus. Manaus is the largest city in all of the Amazon, actually, and it's the port is about half hour from the airport. Now there is direct flights from Miami to Manaus, so that's another option. But you do have alternatives for stopovers, and of course coming through Panama, Bogota, if you want to combine the destination, or Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. And a lot of travelers, that are coming to Brazil, they will stop by Rio or Sao Paulo and or other destinations because you're coming to South America, you can combine it. So that's the interesting part. Then arriving, again, it's a quick transfer. You can have a direct transfer to boarding, and this is going to depend on the ship. There's different sizes of ships in the Brazilian Amazon, and there's different schedules. But again, we're here to support with that. Embarkation check-in is going to be between 11 and 4 p.m., depending. And usually this embarkation is in the morning. Then this is the embarkation point is usually is in the center of Manaus, and it's usually a 30-minute transfer from the airport. Now, a lot of guests want to stay a little bit before the cruise in Manaus or after because Manaus has the beautiful opera house. It's a historic city. It has a lot of other attractions as well as a town and as a cultural destination. So it could be, the case that you decide to actually stay there before, after. Now, um, here we have the Januario National Park. It's the largest wildlife reserve in all of the Amazon, just second to, I mean, no, not second, actually. The second is Pacaya Samiria, but the largest is January. And this is into the Brazilian Amazon, and it's one of the areas we explore by cruise. Now, you have different types of ship here. Here we have the Iberostar Grand Amazon. This is a larger ship. And again, we are a wholesaler for them, so we can definitely help you organize a trip around their activities. Now, there's between 50 and 75 crew members. There's 100 guests on board, and these are the suites. As you can see, the cabins are large, very comfortable. There's lobby, and it's not quite, like your regular cruise ship. It's still an expedition ship. It's still small. It's still unique. You have the guides on board, and you have activities programmed every day, outings, and I'll get a little bit into that as well. Then, if you want something small and a little bit more romantic, you have the Desafio. This is a really nice sailboat, and it gives you that expedition feel as well. You have capacity for 24 people, nine crew members in the cabins. Yes, they all have bathrooms, and they're on some of them are on the lower decks. These are a little bit smaller, but again, nevertheless, it's the comfort there and the time you spend, on in the cabin is really not most of the time. Most of the time, you're in the lobby, in the dining room, or on expedition. And that's the idea here. Tucano, this is a nice, beautiful river boat as well. 18 guests, nine staterooms, a very immersive nature program. And the guiding and in the classic feel of the ship, it's like being really on one of those takes us back to the rubber boat times and the rubber boom in the Amazon with the decoration being very vintage and classic. So it's really nice expedition. And then of course again the focus is on encountering wildlife. Now all these ships are available for charter as well. So if you have corporate groups or if you have if you have a fishing group that wants something specific, we can organize that as well. Untamed Amazon. This is another expedition ship out of the Brazilian Amazon. And again, there's stand-up paddle boards and other perks on the different boats, and we can help you, help you with your clients decide. And as you can see, we're going through briefly just to go through all the infrastructure here. Experiences in the Brazilian Amazon, piranha fishing. Again, it's going to be very similar. Spotting, the local the dolphins in the river, interacting with the local cultures. And again, exploring the smaller creeks on the skiffs. That's really where all the action happens. And again, experiences with the local community, learning about the cassava, the kayaking, photography expeditions where we have a professional photographer guiding you and explaining how to take the photos in the Amazon, the best use of lenses, and again, on any photography expedition, an iPhone can do it as well. So it's not necessary to bring all the gear as well, unless you really want to. Then jungle hiking adventures, and this is actually this was an idea what I was speaking at the very beginning. This is the low water season where you actually can explore that, and then again piranha fishing, and then the high water season you'd be probably in some of the same areas, but in the skiffs, going under the canopy. Then here we have nocturnal wildlife excursions, different shows, and here's a really brief comparison between the Ecuadorian and Peruvian and Brazilian Amazon. Now, this is my 2 cents here, and this is my opinion. And as a travel advisor and representing Latin Trails and as specialist in this area, our recommendation is if you're going to visit, the Galapagos Islands, then you're going to combine it with the Ecuadorian Amazon. If you're going to visit Machu Picchu, Lake Titicaca and other areas in Peru, you're going to combine it with the Peruvian Amazon. And then, if you're going to fly directly from, Miami to Manaus, you can go to the Brazilian Amazon. If you're combining it with Rio de Janeiro and other activities in Brazil, again, that is the main reason to choose one or another. Now, of course, if you want a larger boat, almost like a cruise style boat, then of course the Brazilian Amazon is your best bet because of the Battlestar Grand Amazon expedition cruise. But again, of course, each area has different cultures, but really, it's just it has to do with what else you're going to be doing in the destination. I think that is the main choice. Now, here we have a quick video of the Brazilian Amazon as well. And the services. And again, it is really, I say to everyone, it's more of a botanical tour because what you're going to see most is plant life. There are wildlife there. There is a lot of the animals are there, but sometimes you don't see them. It's a secret forest. Animals are hiding. They see you. You don't see them. We can't guarantee any animal sightings, but in general and in average, our guests do get to see a lot of wildlife. And then, of course, combinations throughout South America. Some of these photos are going to be familiar to you. Extensions to Brazil. The Iguazu Falls is a great destination. Another great destination in Brazil that I don't see it here on our slideshow, but I'll share it with you is the Pantanal. Again, you have jaguar safaris there and other activities. You can combine the Brazilian Amazon easily with Argentina, and again, even the Peruvian Amazon. There is flights from Lima to Buenos Aires, and these are all the types of extensions down south to Chile. Combining an Amazon trip, with a trip to Easter Island or to Patagonia or just to Atacama Desert, just to see the opposites. We're visiting the Peruvian Amazon. We can combine it with Bolivia. Extensions in Peru, of course, a very popular one is Machu Picchu or the Huacachina, oasis in Peru. Again, we have combinations with Colombia, taking into account, the flights that go to Manaus stop in Bogota. So you can combine, something with the coffee route or the Caribbean on the way in or out. And Ecuador, one of our favorites is, extending into the Galapagos Islands and visiting the Andes. And then in the city of Quito. And just, so welcome process, we have, you have one of our guides waiting for you and they'll help you transfer to the riverboat and then onwards from there. Now, again, and this is actually cultural experiences in Quito, one of the entry ports to the Amazon. And just a quick note that Latin Trail's own Sea Lake Experience Hotel. It's in the capital of Ecuador. It's a boutique, beautiful experience hotel where we focus on the experiences, hands-on activities with local culture and local artists, artisans, and neighbors. Watercolor lessons on the rooftop, learning to make a dessert. And take note that with Latin Trails, when you're traveling throughout South America, this is the type of experiences we offer throughout all the countries. Then another important area of our offering is Galapagos cruises. We have the Seaman Journey, the Hermes, and other expedition yachts. Just to give a quick idea of what the experiences on board the Galapagos cruises we offer. And again, these are just two samples of ships, but we have an offering of about 24 small yachts, first class, luxury, and ultra luxury. And here's a sample of one of the entry levels, the Seaman Journey with Citizen Science program on board, a hydroponic plantation to avoid introduced species. Then here's the luxury option, the Hermes. This started operating in May this year. And we have a very strong partnership and partial lease on some of the cabins. So it's a yacht that we offer directly as ours. Tools for agents. Now, here comes the housekeeping part and the fun part. We actually have a partner area on our website. We'll be sharing this with everyone, and you can actually create a website with all our products from this area. It will be hosted initially on a subdomain, and we can help you actually place it on your domain. We have API feeds, and we have partnered with a company called ExpeditionAPI.com. This is just something very new, and with this API, travel agents and tour operators can actually place most of the Galapagos cruises, Amazon cruises, and even cruises in Patagonia and Antarctica on their website in a question of minutes with live inventory, live availability, and that is constantly updated by our team, and with um, very good commissions in terms of contracts for travel agents and tour operators. So this is something that can be connected also to your reservation system. There's connections being doing as we speak. So we're happy to offer out contracts for the yachts we offer and the ships. And all this can be actually pulled into your website through APIs or through the reservation systems that you work with. Now, as I mentioned, we have a customized website, and here's a sample of one of the websites. You can actually add in all the destinations, not just the cruises, but the itineraries and actually fixed departure tours and availability as well. And here's a sample of one of our clients, Galapagos Privé. They have a full website that was built by them with the main content around it, the about us and all that. But the tour information and the itineraries, live availability has been pulled from our API. And we're happy to offer this to all agents. And they can have something, dedicated to the Galapagos or to different areas. And you can filter out if you only want luxury, or if you're aiming to have, more student groups and you want to offer them something that's not too expensive, we can do that as well. Now, wrapping up, we have become part of Be Impactful. We're one of the evangelizers of it now. Be Impactful is it is an organization founded in Germany, and they certify, well, more than certify, they actually verify positive impact from small travel companies and in general DMCs, travel agents like yourselves as well. And any impact that you are creating is actually they're happy to promote it. So that's really what it's about. Um, Here's our sales team that caters for travel agents around the world and are dedicated to assist you, from the beginning to the end of your booking. And they have their backup team, and this is our main team. And this is from our Ecuador office, but we do have, we'll be sharing you the information about our country leaders and the different team members in each destination. So that's my presentation today. I would love to know if you have any questions. I'd love to answer them and happy to continue interacting. I'm going to stop the screen broadcast and I'm going to turn it back to Lee. I hope that we are.
Yeah, I've got you, Marcel. So very good. I don't know. Do you want to come on screen with your webcam, or are you
I will try to do that right now.
see if we can get you on? While you are working on that, there you
Here I
are.
am.
Perfect. Thank you, Marcel. So, what is the best time of year for these three destinations?
Well, it really is going to depend on preference. Now, to be honest, the Amazon in Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil can be visited all year round. It is a year-round destination. A lot of people say, oh, is it going to be too rainy? Yes, it is going to be all year round, but not too rainy, but it's going to rain in year round. That's why we have rain ponchos and boots at all times. It could rain any moment. It's the rainforest. So again, the seasons are not about the rain in the Amazon. The seasons are about the rain in the Andes. So the low water season is going to be, the second part of the year, mainly between June and November, or late October. And this time of the year, you're actually going to have lower waters in the Amazon. So you'll have different routes because the boats have to adapt to that. Well, depending, because in Brazil you really don't have such a low water season, as well as in in Peru. But for example, on the trails you'll notice it because then you can walk on the trails, and you won't be doing much as much skiff rides under the canopy. But in the high water season, the other part of the year between December. Or late November throughout actually May and early June, you have a high water season. And this means that it has rained more in the Andes. And again, this is a little bit different in Brazil, but uh, the rain is higher concentration in the Andes and the rivers rise a little bit more. And then that means you can actually go on the skiffs under the canopy and there's less walking in that sense.
Okay, very good. I know you mentioned some of the flights and the upcoming lift that's going to be available. What about the West Coast? Do you happen to know if there are any direct flights from the West Coast?
Yes, we'll send a chart with all the flights from the entire from the entire US, and actually there is, and we'll also share what we have from Europe as well because there's flights that are arriving into Peru from the UK or from Spain, and so there's connections worldwide with the three countries in general. So we would be talking about a little bit over 20 flights. So I would rather actually send a chart with everything for everyone.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. So, are there ever opportunities for advisors to experience your products?
Yes, we just ran a FAM this past September where we had advisors visiting one of the riverboats in Peru. We will be releasing opportunities throughout the year for the Ecuador Amazon, the Brazilian Amazon, the Peruvian Amazon, um, in combination with other activities in each of the destinations. So we run ongoing FAMs. We do have special rates for agents throughout the year, and then on the FAM dates, we even have additional discounts, or even in some cases, there's a tier where we have depending on sales from the agents, we can actually offer full gratuities in some cases.
Okay, that's great. Terrific. Thank you. All right. I think I'm waiting for clarification on a question I was not sure about, but that's what I've got for now for questions. While I'm waiting, I would just let everybody know that the replay is going to go out. The follow-up email will go out as well, so you will have opportunities to review this information and share it with your advisors. Marcel, what about marketing materials available for advisors?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be sharing the slideshow. We'll be sharing photos, videos of the experiences, our tariff guides, and right now we have, as I mentioned, we have the possibility of creating websites for our clients, for advisors, in the sense of offering them an API, and we could we could support a full website, that is dedicated with their brand to one of these destinations or all of them, or adding the product into their website immediately. There's different ways to cooperate. So we always have that. And we have the B2B section. And we also have social media ready photos and short videos, uh, blog posts that, give you ideas on, when to travel and all that. And that all that will be shared. Now, I was looking at, one of the questions that, was here. And I just wanted to answer an additional one. For example, if you're going to Argentina next, you can combine it with Brazil, or you could combine it with Peru. You can combine it with Ecuador. So all these destinations are combinable.
Excellent.
And Peru from the Brazilian Amazon. Well, you'd have to. I mean, you would connect to Lima after your trip to the Amazon. And then, onward again, we can help with all those connections. We'll send you a full chart of different flights. But again, a lot of it happens on a tailor-made basis because, it depends on time of the year, depends on, it really depends on what you want to combine because there is so many combinations that we can do. It's incredible. All of South America is actually accessible by all the flights in between countries and all that. So we'll send a full chart with all the details.
Okay. And I think I got some clarification on that other question. I think she was asking about the difference. Are there great differences in experiencing the Amazon in these different countries? How do they compare the Brazilian Amazon versus Peru versus?
Uh, I mean, I think the main difference is going to be a little bit more in the Brazilian Amazon. Now, one thing, if you want to see the meeting of the waters, you know, like, that cross of waters, you'll find it very pronounced in the Peruvian Amazon and in the Brazilian Amazon. That's where actually, the river takes its name. For example, in the Peruvian Amazon, it's the meeting of the waters between the Ucayali and the Marañón. And in the Brazilian Amazon, it's the Solimões and the Rio Negro. Uh, and these are one of them is an acidic river, and the other one is it's a little bit more of a muddy river, and they come together, and that is actually the meeting of the waters, what a lot of people would like to see, and that's both in the Peruvian and the Brazilian Amazon. But in terms of wildlife, to be honest, I have been to all three. As I mentioned earlier, it's a botanical trip. I mean, what you're gonna, that's what we can guarantee that you'll see a lot of canopy, a lot of rainforest, a lot of forest. But of course, while you're there, there is amazing bird life that will be appearing: kingfishers, parrots, macaws. Um, Primates, because the itinerary actually is geared to finding areas where they've been tracked the last time. And, different boats are great at communicating between each other and sharing, where they found the last, capybara maybe, and things like that. So that's, a little bit that actually helps spot the wildlife. But again, if I would say, you're gonna find, more monkeys in one part of the Amazon than the other, no, that's not true. It's just same possibility throughout. So it's a very similar. It's the same ecosystem.
Hmm. Okay.
How many days we recommend for each itinerary? Wow, this is getting a lot of fun. The shortest cruise itineraries are actually in the Brazilian Amazon. You have 2, 3 nights. But that is if you're doing the cruise only. Now, if you're combining with other destinations, the rule of thumb is around 10 days, 11 days. You can have a 3 night or 4 night cruise in the Amazon, and then you have some time to explore the other destinations. Of course, if you're doing, a cruise in the Amazon and a cruise in Galapagos, it would go up to about 12 days. If you're combining Machu Picchu and the Amazon, I would say no less than, 10 days is ideal because you also want to give enough time for the other destination. You have to take into account that you have air connections in between. But that's kind of the areas.
Okay, great.
Now, I have another question about the Amazon regions in Guyana. We do have contacts in Guyana. We've been working. Actually, not today, sorry. Yesterday, I was with one of the representatives of the Guyana Tourism Board because I'm actually attending the Adventure Travel Trade Association. We are one of the members, and we meet with a lot of our partners here, and we work with the two different tourism boards. And we were talking with the tourism board in Guyana. It's a destination that we have sent a few passengers to. It is up and coming little by little. We've been having more demand, and we can definitely share some nice programs in Guyana. Um, and it is off the beaten path. It's a little bit different. There is no riverboat cruises there, but there is lodges, and it's also an exciting destination. So just let us know. We'll share that. It's a little bit more niche, so we'll share with you the programs that we can offer in that area.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I think we've done it. Looks like we've answered all of the questions. This has been really fun.
Cool. Lee, thank you very much. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Remember, Latin Trails is here to support you for South America, the Amazon, of course, the Galapagos, Patagonia, Antarctica, and I really hope to see everybody down here soon.
Yes, and my thanks as well. And with that, we will wish you all a great day, great weekend coming up, and conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Thank you.